Hello my friends, it's Friday. Welcome back. We begin with the Russian economy and then we'll continue with the with the frontline segment in this video. First news comes from different oblasts of Russia. Oblasts are governed in Russia by governors. What a surprise there. Yesterday, the head of Kursk region asked the Ministry of Energy for help. He asked for gasoline. Today, the head of Kirov region asked for the Ministry of Energy for gasoline. Let them sign up for Q. They're all asking for gasoline from the Ministry of Energy because they have a shortage. Now that's good news if the Russian Oblasts governors themselves are confirming the shortage while the Kremlin denies it. Who is right? We all know who is right. There is a shortage. I have an updated map for you. Russian gasoline and diesel shortages August to October 25. Week 7, that's the 6th to 12th of October. And 3 regions have been added compared to the last one you saw on Wednesday. We have Chelyabinsk Oblast, Murmansk Oblast, which is this long northern island right here. Murmansk is a part of it is over the Arctic Circle, and it produces a relatively big percentage of Russian oil and gas. It's a very oil and gas rich region now facing a gasoline product shortage. It's a weird, ironical, paradoxical situation in Russia. Anyway, Murmansk Oblast and North Ossetia Alania Oblast, which is in the southern Russia close to Georgia. By the way, Ossetia is supposed to be part of Georgia, but Russia occupied it in 2008. Continuing with it, we'll also look at the Russian revenue chart of September because it just came out. But obviously, Russian revenues have fallen because they have lowered India's oil discounts. So previously, there was $1 per barrel discount of oil prices from sales to India. Russia lowered that from $2 to $2.50 per barrel. So they lowered the price just to take the market share because they need the revenues so bad. They're out of options. They're really willing to give away massive amounts of oil, not for free, but for very minor profits, just to get any money flowing. Because India, not the richest country, they are really picky. They buy when it's cheap. And Russia now makes it really cheap because they need the money flow. My friends, I want to share a story with you. Here we go. My friends, after Ukraine wins the war, most things can be rebuilt. But there are things that are gone forever. Let me guide you through a piece of Ukraine's history that is now lost. Hidden 236 feet beneath the ancient ground of Bakhmut hides a secret. The world's deepest wine cellar. This was the birthplace of art wine, crafted using techniques passed down through generations. Art wine is not just a sparkling wine. It's a rare piece of history. On 24th of February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine, and for a whole year, brave Ukrainian troops defended Bakhmut in the bloodiest battles of the entire war. But in March 2023, Prigozhin with his Wagner group entered the city. The home of art wine fell into the hands of the invaders. Wagner forces did not hide their presence. You can see the officer not believing his eyes. What a treasure they just stumbled upon. Art wine sparkling wine ages for years, and throughout that process, classical music was playing. To the amazement of the occupiers, it was still playing by the time they set their foot into those cellars. You can hear it for yourself. Listen. Not long after that, the leader of the Wagner group, Prigozhin himself, strolls around the cellars admiring the riches of the Ukrainian culture. Prigozhin, in the midst of stealing the bottles, decided to mock the Ukrainian women on Women's Day and wrote a greeting on one of the boxes while his crew was loading the sparkling wine to be taken away. It seemed as if this piece of Ukraine was lost. But it was not so. Just before the city fell, the bravest of men, risking their lives, smuggled out some bottles and they were sent to the US. These last bottles from the cellars of Bakhmut carry the bravery and resilience of the Ukrainian troops who defended the city, some to the very end. Today, in 2025, Ukraine is holding, innovating, creating their own missiles and hitting Russia back. This innovation shows in the Flamingo missile. Pink, like the Brut Rosé sparkling wine from Art Wine. While the Flamingo destroys Russian oil refineries, these last Art Wine bottles wait for someone who cherishes their story. This is you. You have seen the suffering and resilience of Ukrainian people, so it is only right that you get the chance to own this piece of Ukrainian history, the last of its kind, a sparkling wine that will never exist again. I am working together with Art Wine to get you these last bottles, and only you can get the Rehi Flamingo Special Edition. There is even a flamingo sticker on the bottle for you. There is no better gift than this Flamingo sparkling wine. With it, you gift a piece of Ukrainian history and resolve. If you are looking for a meaning in a gift, well, here it is. This is the gift to someone you love. Get these very last bottles from Bakhmut at shop.artwine.com/products/flamingo. For now, these bottles cannot leave the safety of the United States, so only US orders are accepted. A once-in-a-lifetime chance to own or gift a piece of history that will never be made again. Slava Ukraini, my friends. Look at this photo, my friends. This comes from Crimea, and look at this, 95, 92, diesel, LPG. Everything is out except for 92 gasoline. Everything else, these beautiful rows of zeros, that's what I like to see in my Russian gas stations. This is from the city of Krasnogvardetskoye in occupied Crimea. Now, Krasnogvardetskoye is in central Crimea, a city, a town, not big, and it says it's a ton on the photo, so I did some geolocation of my own. It's just so easy. There is only one a ton gas station in Krasnogvardetskoye, sorry for the butchering, and let me zoom out so you see where it is, and now let me zoom in again to show you the exact location of this gas station. My first geolocation, my friends. Don't judge, please. Now, my friends, will travel into Russia and specifically Korobkovsky gas processing plant in Kotovo, one of the southern Russia's largest plants, processing up to 450 million cubic meters of gas annually. It was hit by Ukrainian sanctions, and by sanctions I mean drones. Again, did some, not geolocation, but just I looked up the name on Google Map because there was no information showing the location. So here is Kotovo, Russia. I'll just zoom out for you. This is in the vicinity of that hit, just so you know where it is. It's in southern Russia. Of course, we have a beautiful video. Also, this happened on October 8th, so 2 days ago, and we have a beautiful video of it. Let's just enjoy it. Look at that. Ukrainians are targeting, actually. You can see this kind of structure. They are always targeting this kind of a structure. And these, what you would call them a sprinkler system, but no, these are firefighters trying to extinguish the fires. This has been going on for 2 days already, and it really does look like a sprinkler system that really doesn't do much. I'm so glad that 2 days has passed from this attack, because we also have the satellite image before and after, which is always, I just love them so much. They're so clear cut of showing us the destruction, even the burned fields around it. See, the field even burned, and I feel, there are field mice on that field. I feel bad for them. Look at that. All of them died. But look at the central tower of this gas station. Intact. Just a black hole. It's been demolished by Ukrainian sanctions. Let's zoom in a little bit. Before and after. It burned. It's destroyed. It cannot be rebuilt to the Western standard that built it. It can be rebuilt to the Soviet standard, which makes it a lot less efficient. Again, important information. This is the largest gas production plant in southern Russia, and before and after photos are just too clear. You cannot claim that, oh, they missed or this can be repaired. No, it's a black hole at the center of this gas producing facility. This one won't be working for quite some time. Now we travel to Russia's Rostov region, against southern Russia, an oblast in south of Russia, and Ukrainian sanctions. Sanctioned? this facility. Look at that. Boom. Done. And it's an oil depot. The sound even is beautiful. You can hear some Russian babushkas making beautiful soundtracks in the back. Here you can hear the Ukrainian drone. Let's see. Again, looking at it, Lute drone always looks the same. Every kind of deep strike on an oil depot or oil facility is done with the exact same drone. They work well, they're cheap, they're mass producible. They're just beautiful. And you can hear Russians trying to shoot them down. Didn't really work out, we just saw the video of it hitting, of course. And here is the aftermath, a big black bloom of smoke. Little barbecue for the Russians. This is the location. Let me just get you the great geolocator. No, I'm not, but this is Matvejev Kurgan. This is the settlement near which this oil depot is. Let me zoom out for you. It's close to the Azov Sea. It's very much close to the Ukrainian border and southern Russia. And this is again what it looks like from the side. I always appreciate Russian people just driving past their burning country and making videos for us, because I can show you something. It's always cool to see when you hear me talking about it. You can just see when it happens. And look at that. Beautiful black bloom of smoke coming out of Russia the way I like it. Let's take a look at Russian revenue. September chart just came out, September numbers. And they're not looking good. Every month these numbers come out compared to the year before, 2024 September, now it's 25 September. So the revenues fell 1%, 1.2%. In real terms, revenues fell by 10%. This is a real disaster. Even inflation couldn't save them. But here is a more specific chart of oil and gas revenues in orange and non-oil and gas revenues in blue. So oil and gas revenues year on year on September fell 25%. This is massive, and this is 100% because of Ukrainian sanctions in the form of drones hitting oil depots. Now, non-oil and gas revenues rose by 6%, but again, as you can see on this chart, usually they rise 20 or 15, 23%. 6% is the lowest since June 2024, which was 1%. And before that, it was the lowest before, 2022. So Russia not doing that good, and these charts illustrate to you perfectly why they're ready to sell oil at a massive discount to India just to push as much oil as possible abroad to get some kind of money flows, because they're not bringing in money from anywhere else. Budget expenditures grew only by 6% in September compared to 20% in previous months. Check it out. This is budget expenditure. It's growing and growing because Russia is pushing more and more money to the military. Almost all of their money, let's be honest. And in September, only 6%. See, this chart would continue growing upwards if they would have the money to scrape from somewhere to push to the military, but they don't. And that's the result here. 6% in September 2025. My friends, I looked at the subscribed chart, and turns out only half of you are subscribed. You're watching my channel and you're not subscribed. Hey, you can fix that right now. Just push the subscribe button, push the bell notification. I didn't know half of you haven't done that. Well, let's do it all together now. Click, done. You'll be notified when I upload. Thanks, my friends. Now, my friends, to the frontline segment, which I do in every video. And I'll begin with beautiful news of a Russian MiG-31K aircraft crashing in Lipetsk region. Chapliginsky district, and again, not geolocated, but just put in the name to Google Maps to know where this district is. I'll show it to you. It's right here in a little bit south of Moscow, about 200 clicks from south of Moscow, 250 clicks north from Donetsk, eastern part of Donetsk Oblast. Thing is, this district here is about as big as one Estonian county. See where I'm now? It's like 1/8 of Estonia, this area. So here is where it fell down. Russia only had about 24 MiG-31K variants capable of launching Kinzhal missiles. This is no ordinary plane. This is a very capable Russian flying machine. Also, the issue of this is they don't produce them. they do on paper, but they really don't. Production ended decades ago. It's about 45 years old. According to the Russians, the MiG-31s have had very serious operational limits for 20 years regarding breaking the sound barrier, maneuvering, and yearly flight hours, etc. The thing is, with such old planes, they will fly good and they're dangerous for the enemy if you maintain them. I mean, plane F-16 is almost 50 years old. If I'm not mistaken, it is half a century old plane. You would imagine half a century old plane being like open rotor, open propeller for First World War planes. It's just a weird math the brain does. Half a century old, okay, it's very old. F-16. If you look at it, oh damn, it looks modern. It's 50 years old almost. If you maintain them properly, they're good, they will defend your skies, and they're very dangerous for the enemy. NATO does that. Russia doesn't. They keep flying out of the sky. The pilots survived though. They ejected before the crash. Weird chart. See, this is the chart of Russian artillery systems destruction. It will begin in 2022 up to 25. See, it has been increasing, then decreasing, then increasing. But suddenly in October, in the last 6 days, only 105 Russian artillery systems were destroyed. Now, there can be many reasons for it, but Ukrainians have definitely not changed anything with their drone tactics on the front. They're still hunting them as they do all the time. Usually Russians lose about 500 in a week. What changed? We can presume that Russians are scraping the barrel when it comes to old Soviet artillery systems. They're running out. They might have the numbers still because according to the math, they're supposed to run out next year, 2026, not this year fall, right now 2025. But the numbers we have are inflated. And if they even have a few thousand artillery systems more in the storage, we don't know the condition of the barrel. See, with artillery, if there's too much rust, you cannot use it. It will explode in the barrel. So they are kept outside usually. Russian weapon systems, they are not inside. The Moiz do their job with the BMPs and BTRs, and the rust and snow and rain and cold and freezing and melting does its job with the artillery barrels. So the barrel artillery crisis for the Russian Federation should occur in 2026 by all of the math. Everybody has done that math, but certainly not in the fall of 2025, or have the negative trends accelerated. Or the weather has done its part and the numbers that we expect Russia to still have in the storage are not actually usable. Anyway, the usage of Russian Soviet artillery has decreased a lot, so have the losses. A few days ago, Ukraine struck the biggest oil depot in Crimea, Feodosia. And now we have the aftermath. Oil depot, like in the most modern sense, it's these big, massive oil tanks filled with oil. That's what it is. And here we can see the aftermath after 2 days of straight burning. One of the fuel tanks has completely melted and still burning, so they couldn't put it out. These sprinkler systems here are not manned, they're automatic, as you know, you gotta put it out for 3 days in a row and it still just burns empty. It's not extinguished. They do look like garden sprinklers, not much of a firefight there. I mean, they have lost the firefight. The fire won, obviously, just burned everything. So that's the video, but I also have a satellite image for you. This is the Feodosia Oil Depot. The red fuel depot, fuel silos, were attacked in previous attacks because this is the gazillionth time Ukraine attacks this oil depot. The yellow ones were struck this time a few days ago, and these 4 here are in the threat. One of them definitely melted, we saw it in the video. Others caught fire, and we don't know how good are they doing. These red ones possibly damaged or destroyed from the previous attacks. So yeah, Ukraine is dismantling this. As you can see, it's big, massive, definitely takes a few more attacks to take it out, but it's death by 1,000 cuts, not death through 1 cut, so there will be 1,000 more. Alright, let's actually look at a map from the front line, and Russians have been moving their units around from Donetsk to Dnipropetrovsk Oblast because they are making bigger or very big gains there, and they're making no gains in the assault on Pokrovsk. What's weird is that in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, Russian main assault offensive is towards Pokrovske, and in Donetsk it's towards Pokrovsk. They're two different cities. One has E at the end of it, and it's in a different oblast. I'll also show it to you on map myself. So this is Pokrovsk. This is the three encirclements that Ukraine is just enjoying here. But what Russians really are doing, let me just draw a very simplified version of it to you. Russians are pulling their troops from Pokrovsk area and focusing them to Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, which is right here, to try to take Pokrovsk, this city right here, which is the main goal. Unfortunately, this is the most successful Russian offensive axis right now. I'll go back in time and you can see how they have advanced in this Dnipropetrovsk Oblast really fast, unfortunately. Ukrainians do not have an answer for this because their brigades who can change the situation are deployed to Pokrovsk. And Russia is bringing troops here, and Ukraine has not yet done so. So Russians do have the initiative, and Ukraine is on the reactive side, which in war terms meaning you're losing in this specific offensive axis. Russia continues to redeploy forces away from southern Pokrovsk. 90th Tank Division is now entirely south of Ivanivka, Novopavlivka. 35th, 55th, 74th, 137th Brigades redeployed from southern Pokrovsk towards Novopavlivka. Only 15th, 30th Brigades and elements of the 27th Division remain south of Pokrovsk. You can see this migration from Pokrovsk to Novopavlivka, which is Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. They're pretty much changing oblasts because in Pokrovsk they're fighting against the best Ukrainian forces there are. In Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, Ukraine doesn't really have an answer to them, so obviously they're moving. Now Ukraine is forced to also do the same, to put their units to fight the Russians in Dnipropetrovsk, but this means a reaction to the Russians. This means Russia has the initiative on movement, which translates to a lot of ground lost usually if your enemy has the initiative and you react to it by moving your units. But again, I gotta remind you, which army are we here talking about? This new video surfaced on the Eastern Front of Russians looking, I'll just read you the subtitles. Look, we need to send this to Peskov. Peskov being the Kremlin's spokesperson who claims that Russian army has everything they need. Well, obviously, they don't have everything they need because they need vehicles, even Bukhanka vans, the loaf trucks. They're not even producing them enough, although they're very low tech. They're using what I think this is the in farming you use it to plow your fields. Without the tractor, you can just use that and walk on your fields. And if you mount that in front of a trolley thingy, you get a transportation system. You get a public transportation system for the Russian army. Wow, wow, wow. Now, a video from the leader of all Ukrainian drone units, Madyar, a legendary Ukrainian drone commander, Robert Madyar, posted a video about the Russian FPS drones waiting in ambush positions on roads. He says that they are routinely found 10 to 15 clicks past the front line, but that some can be waiting for 20 to 40 clicks past the front line. And check it out. I gotta remind you, both sides do that. This tactic has been used way over 2 years now. Both sides do it, but these specific ones are Russian drones waiting 20 clicks behind Ukraine, in the depths of Ukraine. They're waiting. They're in sleep mode or standby mode, meaning they don't take battery. The battery can be like that for days in standby mode. They have sensors. If somebody walks by, they give a signal to the drone operator that there's movement. If it's an animal, the drone operator puts it back on standby. If he sees Ukrainian troops or civilians, they usually lift up and destroy them. So this is like a security camera which automatically signals the drone operator if something's up, and then they can make the security camera explode. It's so strange. It is a mobile mine system. Unfortunately, very deadly. Super deadly. And both sides are using them to great effect. And they are standing here. 1, 2. There's many more, I think. I saw 1, 2, right? 3, 4. 4 of them. How many more do we have? Even more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 1 And what's the weirdest part is that Ukrainian drones are ramming into these Russian ambush drones, FPV drones destroying other FPV drones that are in standby ambush modes. It's full drone war. No units present in this area. One drone destroying another drone. The future is now, old man, as they say it. And in this case, I am the old man, since this is mind-blowing to me. For the sake of truth, I have so much talked about Ukraine destroying Russian energy infrastructure and oil and gas production facilities, but the opposite is true also. Russia, from the beginning of war, has destroyed about 50% of entire Ukrainian gas producing infrastructure, meaning Ukraine has to resort to very expensive means of replenishing their storage of gas for the winter from the European Union, like buying expensive gas from the EU, because Russia, again, about 2 days ago, they conducted a massive attack, hundreds of drones and tens of missiles, and they destroyed another Ukrainian gas production facility. On Friday, Moscow launched its largest attack on Ukrainian gas infrastructure since the start of the war, and Ukraine is at low storage right now. Winter is coming. Russia is focusing down electrical and gas grid, the pipelines and everything, so people would be cold in winter. Ukraine is doing the same. They're both doing that. By the way, interesting fact, Ukraine has European largest underground gas facilities. If there were no war, Ukraine would be used as European Union's gas backup storage. It would be pumped full and leased out to hold European Union's gas because they have such large facilities. But now Russia is focusing down on these facilities to make sure Ukraine does not have enough gas, and they're forced to buy with peak prices in the winter. That's what they're doing. And this situation is really bad. Ukrainians will be very cold this winter. I don't want to end with this gloomy news, so I gotta bring you something light and funny. And when I say light and funny, I mean really deadly serious Russian generals. I mean, this is all of them that do any kind of decisions in the Russian army in this invasion of Ukraine were summoned 2 days ago to have dinner with Putin. An interesting fact was that all of their plates are empty, right? But Putin's plate already had food on it because he's, might be poisoned. So he had very separate food already laid here. But everybody else, they were thinking, okay, why does he have food? We don't. Maybe because our food is poisoned and he's ready to eat his own good food. I don't know. But look at these faces. Very gloomy. This is not the dinner, this is before and after the dinner started. These faces reflect how Russia is doing, because these are, let me read it to you, these are Defense Minister Andrei Belousov, Chief of the General Staff Valery Gerasimov, Chief of the Main Operational Directorate Sergei Rudskoy, Army Group North Commander Yevgeny Nikiforov, Army Group Center Commander Valery Salachuk, Dnipro Commander Mikhail Deplinsky, West Commander Sergei Kuzovlev, South Commander Alexander Sanchik, East Commander Andrei Ivanayev, Black Sea Fleet Commander Sergei Binchuk, and also FSB Director Alexander Portnikov. Hey, FSB Director, that gotta be flying out of the window, because the Transnistria and the Moldova elections that were recently lost by Russia, that's how I'm gonna say it, because that's the truth. FSB Director Alexander Portnikov had been responsible of funneling hundreds of millions of dollars of Kremlin money into Moldova to buy these elections, and they miserably failed. And now it turned out that a lot of the money was stolen in Russia already. So FSB Director Alexander Portnikov, stay away from windows. And also in this dinner, don't drink any tea. This has been it, my friends. I'll be back for you on Monday. Until then, definitely subscribe, because half of you haven't done it. So let's do it all together now. Click, it's done. I'll bring to you Russian economy on the front lines and perhaps some international news on Monday again. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.